Welcome back to Chops Garage. You can see we've got Adrian from A&K Van Services in the house. He's bought the Touareg today with his trailer because there's nothing on the back of it, you'll notice. That's because we're going to go and pick something up. We're going to go and pick two things up, actually. I have been super brave and I've bought two cars from British Car Auctions blind, well, other than reports online. We're about to go and pick them up. I'm going to drive one back. He's going to trailer one back. So let's bring you along for the journey and let's find out, have we been burnt by BCA or not? This is Chops Garage, let's get going. So here we are at BCA, all the Cinch trucks are back there somewhere. In case you don't know, I think everybody does by now, that British Car Auctions owns Cinch. There's the building. They own Cinch and We Buy Any Car. So the cars come from We Buy Any Car, they come to here, they go into auction. The ones they want to keep, the newer ones, go to Cinch for their online sales. So anyway, they won't want anything to do with the cars I'm getting, they're far too old for them, so let's go and check them out. Right, time for the walk of shame into the car park to find the cars now. We've turned that around in about 5 minutes. They're super quick here at Bridgewater. There's no time at all in them getting the paperwork together for you if you book your pickup. So we just have to walk through the car park, find the cars, and then decide which one's worth driving home, which one needs to be trailered. I think we found our first one, the Kia Rio. Quick little look around this a sec. Bodywork wise seems alright. It's tidy at the moment. We'll get in and get it running and see what the score is. We've got to find the other one, the iGo now. You want to start up again for me? Do you want to just start up again for me, quick, mate? So we found the little iGo, and this one will not be driven home because it's not sounding too healthy. It sounds like a blown exhaust. Yeah, quite a blow on the exhaust on that one. Nice, so we'll load that one up. Yeah, you can see it blowing on the right hand side of the manifold there. You can see it blowing. So we'll need to find out what the score is there. Mileage is okay, only 50,000 miles. Got a couple of keys. Can't see a service book in here. Let's see if the clutch is okay a second. Yeah, clutch is okay. It's a little on the high side, but they can be adjusted on these, can't they? The gearboxes are always like flipping soup spoons. Alright, let's get it round to the trailer for Adrian, and then we'll go and check the Rio out. Right, so we know where we are with that, the Rio. Let's have a look at the Rio. All seems alright in here. We've got a service bit with this one. We've got a couple of keys, 96,000 miles, aircon, CD radio, all that guff. Very basic. Battery's flat, I think. Oh no, started up. I did have my top on with me just in case. It's got enough fuel to get me home, so it looks like we're driving this one, so we better just check the fluids on it. Got the locking wheel nuts there, carpets are all clean, got the handbooks down there. Bodywork seems tidy on this. Could be famous last words. Don't say anything, James. Don't say anything. Check everything else first. Check the clutch a second. We've got a good clutch. Clutch is below half. It's not biting aggressively or anything like that, so that's nice. Check the engine bay. It's got a massive Kev over there revving his car up. So all seems tidy enough here. There's no major oils everywhere. Rocker cover's good. No oil coming off of that. I'll have to wipe the stick because obviously we just started it. 2 seconds. See if we have to get some oil before we start heading off or not. Yeah, it's towards the bottom. So we could do with putting a litre of oil in it before we start driving back. It's a cool level, alright. Where is it on again on these? It's here, isn't it? Difficult one to see on this, on the expansion bottle. Looks about halfway down on that one. So I think definitely put some oil in before we head off, I think. And then by the time we get home we can check what the level is again and see if it's burning oil really quickly or whether it's just the fact it's 96,000 miles and burning a bit over time. Engine's running quite sweetly actually on that. Sounds really nice. So like I say, we'll get some oil and head off, and then we'll let Adrian transport this one back. So I got my essentials, I got my litre of oil, and I got my coffee. We'll fill this up, that's spilling it everywhere, and then we'll head home, which is about an hour, and we'll see if it uses much of this when we get to the other end. I'll take a dipstick reading, but we know a litre is probably going to take us up to the top of the stick, I'd have thought. Oh, there we go. Actually, we're a bit over the top of the stick now, so we'll suck a little bit out when we get back. We'll do a full oil change on it when we get back anyway, but we'll do another reading when we get home and see where it is compared to that. So got back. The little Rio drove absolutely lovely, no problems at all, drove beautiful. Only thing is that as I drove off, airbag light came on. It was slightly intermittent, but I've also got none of this is working. The horn is working, but none of these buttons either side working. Now, if the horn wasn't working, I'd say it's potentially the clock spring that's got the airbag light on and stopping all this working. But the horn is still working, so I don't know, maybe some of you guys down in the comments say whether it's possible for the horn to still work with the clock spring playing up. I don't know, so we've got to look into that. But other than that, drove absolutely sweet as a nut. So what we'll do is let it cool down, then we'll check the oil level. But we've spotted something a bit nasty on the Aygo as Adrian's been unloading it. So obviously it's got the blow from the exhaust, but having a quick look underneath, we've got a rotten spring pan on the back there. So I mean, I expect it to be crushed underneath, but that's a rotten spring pan. Now whether the boys will weld that for me or whether they want to put a whole rear beam on it, I don't know, because the rest of the beam actually does seem okay. So hopefully, I don't know, it depends what the boys' viewpoint is on that, whether they'll do that or not. I'm always led by them, but hopefully they will do a patch on that rather than just having to put a whole new rear beam in, which won't be massively expensive, but the labour itself doing it will be a pain in the bum. I have done the kind of thing before, you basically take everything off the rear beam and leave it hanging. Those who've seen my videos before have seen me do that, just leave all the rear shoes and that hanging off the sides and then slip the new one in, but we'll have to see. I'll have a chat with the lads. So I'm just going to whip the Aygo round the corner to the garage, around the corner, because moors are stacked up on my work at the moment. I don't think there's any point photographing this. I'm putting it up for sale in preparation for it to be ready. I think we'll go and find out where we are with it, see if they're happy to fix the rear spring panel, whether they want to put a rear beam on and get the exhaust sorted. Obviously trying to fix the rear pan is the ideal. I've seen it done on other vehicles. People do weld rear beams up if the rest of it is solid, and it'll allow to keep the price point nice and low on this Aygo. If we have to replace a rear beam, we're going to have to ask the top money for it, which isn't what I wanted. I wanted to be sort of below Autotader, have these as nice super cheapies. But let's pop it around the corner and see what they've got to say. Well, that was a short trip because they said categorically they don't like welding up spring pans, which is the kind of thing that cracks me up when people say that dealers get dodgy MOTs on cars. Or, you know, they don't want to take 50 quid off you for an MOT. They want to do it the proper way, the right way. And I'm not saying they're creating work here, because I think probably the rear beam does want replacing. I was just getting their opinion on it. But yeah, no, that's so they are done the proper way. People aren't just taking 50 quid off you to stick a ticket on it. So we'll have to look at getting a beam for that one. So with the beam replacement and the blowing on the exhaust, I need to check the BCA report as well, because normally it should say that engine was noisy, and I'm pretty sure this didn't say engine was noisy. And I don't think that happened overnight. So we've got to get that one and get the beam done, get the manifold done, then we're going to need to stick a new ticket on it, then we're going to need to refurb the wheel trim. So that one is it'll probably end up being a £300 or £400 margin car, I would have said. The Kia, on the face of it, I should touch wood while I say it, looking like it might be okay. We'll get the clock spring, unless we find out clock springs are horrendous money. We'll get this clock spring, because people on TikTok have been telling me that actually they've had the same problem with theirs, and it was a clock spring. The horn still does work, but it'll knock out everything else. That's something I would hope to still come out of making £700, £800 margin, hopefully, depending on what it needs. But the idea of these was just to get some cheapies in. We have got another cheapie in. I bought this the same day as these two when I came back from picking them up. A subscriber kindly came by. Now I must say it was in much cleaner condition than this when it arrived. So they bought me a Fiesta on a 2014, only lives down in Ilfracombe. I've got to say whether I could use his name or not, so I'm not going to use his name. This was a stopgap car for them until they got the 7-seater they needed. It's a 1.5 diesel Fiesta 2014, 104,000 miles on it. pretty much nigh on full service history. Bodywork is all in really good condition. There's a little bit missing from the front grille there. I did initially think I would replace that grille, but I think what I'll do is just, again, like these, make it a cheap car and not go crazy on it. The reason it's covered in mud is I've just driven it pretty much all yesterday and this morning, and I'm loving it. I've always liked that 1.5 diesel engine. I thought it's had loads of punch and all the other, when I drove it in the Focuses and other cars, but I never had it anything as small as a Fiesta, and it makes it a genuinely warm hatch. It's got loads of low down punch, it flies along, handles really well. It absolutely just using no fuel at all. I've had it on the empty light the entire time. It's using no fuel whatsoever. I'm really impressed with it. It's 0 road tax as well. See, and he tells me he was getting like 70 mpg out of it. So that combined with 0 road tax it's just a perfect commuter car, isn't it? If you've got to be doing quite a lot of miles to get to work each day. I've locked it. Let me get the keys a sec. Yeah, it's just a perfect car for commuting. The inside's in really good condition. A little bit of wet clean on the base of the seats. You can see I've got my crud in it. You've got all the toys you need. You've got your auxiliary inputs, CD radio, air conditioning. All the inputs are down there. I think the only thing it's missing is Bluetooth, but that's an easy one for me to sort out. I can put a Bluetooth adapter in this one. 104,000 miles, 572. Really nice condition. Really nice car. Again, massively appreciate him thinking of me when he came to sell it. He said, I did get a We Buy Any Car price. And he said, but We Buy Any Car then wanted like 200 quid between fees and transferring the money. And I still wasn't getting the money straight away. So he said, I knew if I bought it to you, you'd just do me an immediate transfer. And I didn't chip him on the price I quoted him either, other than the broken grille. Because he did say that bodywork was absolutely bang on. I think he'd missed that when he'd purchased it, and they're not the cheapest things in the world to buy, and to fit them, ideally you need to get the bumper off, so there's quite a bit involved in it. But yeah, really nice little car. Like I say, I've bombed along. I haven't found any faults with it at all. I should be touching wood again while I say that. I haven't found any faults with it. It's as he described it. So again, fantastic. Hopefully maybe it will go to another subscriber and then it'll be that nice circle again, because it does seem a really good quality little car. I guess the only thing not going for it is, in the trade we call this colour Doom Blue, where it is a flat blue, dark blue with no metallic in it. It is classed as a Doom Blue because most of us consider them slow sellers. But someone bought this one when it was new. Our subscriber bought it when it was used. There'll be somebody for it. I did wonder if you should put some white stripes up it or graphics to break it up. I think you could possibly alienate other people further by doing that. So I think just leave it as it is. And it's going to be a cheap car. I mean, this is about, I want to say £3.5 grand. I think this is, which I ran it. I was surprised it was that cheap in the current market. I would have thought 2014, even the 104, we'd be over 4, but no, 3,495 seems the price. So this little row along here, it'll all be under 4, so it'll be a nice little selection of cheap cars. Someone might say, James, you've traded out better cars than the Igo before, why are you bothering with that? Well, the trouble is with that is I have to now continue it, and I have to now retail it to get my money out of it, because I didn't get it cheap enough in the first place. So it might seem strange when I trade other cars out and I keep hold of this and do a rear beam on it, but the thing with it is it's I'm in there now. I'm into the money. I've got to continue with it. Even if I only come out of it with like a £300 profit, I need to stick with it to see my money back out of it again. The burning question you have, no doubt, is how much did I pay for these absolute gems? Well, if we go into my BCA account, we can see that the Kia Rio, I won at £1,900. If we view the invoice, we can see it was £1,900 for the car. Was 374 for the fees, 12.30 for the essential check, so it gave me a total of £2,286. So as I said, as I always say, auctions aren't massively cheap. That's probably, I don't know, we'll check what the valuation of that car is in a second, but yeah, you probably could go and snag something like private if it had been listed with a few faults. So, and then the Igo, we paid £1,500 for that. And then it's £1,500, £354 for the fees, £1,230 for the essential check, and the total is £1,866. So, as I always say, people that think that dealers are running away with dirt cheap cars at auction, you know, evidence there straight away. You get those home, you do the repairs that both of those need on them, and you're not really going to be that much cheaper than just going and buying off a dealer in the first place, or going and buying it private sale. So here we have the Auto Trader valuations on those cars. These are the retail prices. So private sale you'd expect to be about £500 cheaper. So the Kia Rio, it says 3592, so it's going to be 3495. So we've got about what, £1,200 margin in that before we start. We'll pay about £300 in VAT, so we're down to about 900, 100 for a warranty, so about 800. And then we've got the clock spring to do and other repairs. It might actually need to be about £500 margin on that by the time it was all said and done. As I say to you so often, margins on used cars are about 10 to 15%. So when you go along to look at a car and you ask for £500 for a £3,500 car, the reason you're told very quickly no is because you're asking for all of the margin in the vehicle. And then we've got the iGo. The retail price for that is 3,379. Now ours has got some sketchy silverness on it. It's not the tidiest example. The mileage goes for it. Might end up only retailing for £3,000, to be honest. I might have to ask 3,295, but it might only retail for about £3,000. And we had 1866 in that, so we've got about £1,200 to pay the VAT man and to fit the beam and to get the exhaust thing sorted. So that's why I said to you, I suspect that'll be £300 in it at the end of the day. Maybe 500 if I get it above £3,000. So again, I just like to dispel this myth within consumers that dealers walk away with ridiculous profits on cars. You can see there, like I said, if you're going to go along and see a car that's coming with, 3 months warranty on it, it's had a fresh advisory free MOT put on it, they've put an oil and filter on it, which I've not factored into my numbers either on it, and they've got it fully prepped, you need to be paying the asking price on £3,000 to £5,000 cars. I could go and buy that cheaper privately. Well, you can see there that, what are you going to get these cars for privately? You might get the Rio for 2.8, you might get the iGo for 2.8, or you might get them for 2.5 privately. But if you do the work we're talking about doing here at normal rates, you're not going to really save anything against the trader's price. And you've got the 6 months Consumer Rights Act backing you up on that as well, which you drive off a driveway with the other car, you haven't got a leg to stand on.
So there you have it. As I always say, guys, auction is not the cheapest place to buy cars. There is margin in them, but it's not the huge margin as people think it is. You can get just as a good deal going and privately negotiating on a car that's up for sale, like I say, with a private seller. Perhaps one that's got faults on it, because those cars do struggle to sell. If someone's been honest and listed faults in their advert, they'll be dealing with a lot of idiots, so that's where you can probably go and get your best deals on it. But if you want to find out what we do end up making out of these two cars, then you need to hit that subscribe button down below, because we will update you, and as always we'll be honest and show you all the spreadsheets, and we'll also probably take it to the point of sale and see how much we do end up actually getting for these cars. Now if you do want a truly cheap car, well of course you have the opportunity to win the Vauxhall Adam here for just £2. We've got this 2016 Vauxhall Adam up on our raffle. It's got a brand new MOT on it. It's freshly serviced. It is all set to go. It's a fantastic looking little car, fantastic driving little car. Be a fantastic first car for someone. It's got the 1.4 petrol engine in it, which is much better than the slow 1.2s. So yeah, that is up for grabs. I'll put a link to the raffle down below, and don't forget, a proportion of the proceeds goes to Little Willow's Wish, which is a charity that supports families that have children in hospital. Also, don't forget that we do have an alternative prize. If you don't wish to actually have the car, if you win and you don't wish to have the car, we will give you £1,000 cash, and we'll give you a bundle load of our sponsor Topdon's diagnostic equipment. We will then sell the car, and then the proceeds of the car minus the £1,000 cash you had will also go to the charity. So it's something really good to get involved in. Tickets, like I said, only £2 a ticket, and the link is in the video description down below. So as always, many thanks for watching. As I said, if you want to follow on what happens, make sure you've hit that subscribe button down below, and I'll see you on the next one.